played with a lot of older lads.
Okay.
If you start crying, if you start whinging, they're not going to let you play again.
Yeah.
I'd always had that thing in my mind that I can do that. I was 22 moving to Liverpool. People think I was like 26, 27. I was only
young.
22.
Yeah.
Moving to Liverpool, and I was moving from my hometown to another city, and I'd barely moved out of my parents' house.
Yeah.
Emile Heskey, England international, Leicester City hero, Liverpool legend. But behind the goals, behind the fame, lies the story of a man, a son, a father, a boy chasing a dream. That dream came true when he signed for Liverpool, but success came with a cost, pressure, sacrifice, and moments of quiet pain. We explore the journey behind the headlines, the mental toll, the strength to keep showing up day in, day out. This is more than football. This is Emile Heskey, behind the scenes.
I spend a lot of time with the kids trying to watch them play and enjoy their career, because I can remember my debut.
Welcome to another episode of Behind the Scenes. And like I say, every episode is exactly what it says in the name. We're here to talk about things that people don't see, the low moments, the times that we're praying to God for help. So for this show here, I'm honoured and I'm privileged to have my big brother, Liverpool legend, Leicester legend, Emile Heskey. Big bro, welcome.
Thank you, Evan.
Thank you. Cool. This show's behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to chop it up, have some fun, but most importantly, we're going to talk about the hard work that people really don't see.
Mm-hmm.
And you've had a successful career, and I know what comes with success. As a life coach, I know it comes with discipline, sacrifice, and consistency.
Yeah.
Those three together, so I want to break down these things and know your journey of the sacrifices, of how disciplined you were, and things that just people don't see, because all they see is Emile Heskey scored goals and that's that. But what comes with that, sometimes mentally preparing for a game, I want to know all of that. But before anything, we start off always with young Emile. Like, who was Emile? Where are you from? Who was young?
From Leicester, born and raised in Leicester, of Caribbean descent. Mum and dad came, it's fascinating to be fair. Mum and dad came from Antigua and Barbuda.
Okay.
Dad's born in Antigua, my mum's born in Barbuda. Met in Leicester.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, twin islands, but would have probably never met if they'd have stayed over there. So, and then had 4 kids, and I was the second one. I'm raised in Leicester. Good life, really good life to be fair. But like everyone knows, is until you grow up, you don't realise how tough things. My dad was doorman.
Okay.
But during the day, he worked for Rover.
Okay.
He was a welder for Rover. My mum worked in the hosiery factory.
Okay.
So yeah, it was good. We didn't want for nothing. We technically had everything. We always had food on our table. We always had clothes on our back. But the house was warm.
Right.
So we had everything we needed. Spent a lot of time with my grandparents as well, which you generally do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just a really nice upbringing.
Good.
Around a really good community as well. So Caribbean community in Leicester.
Okay.
In Highfields. I moved a little bit out, but I spent a lot of time back in because that's where my grandparents lived.
Right.
So, just a really good Caribbean upbringing.
Nice. And you said you're one of 4?
One of 4 from my mum and dad, one of 6
okay.
from my dad.
Overall.
Dad's got 2.
Right. And how were you with your siblings?
Fine, yeah. Everyone's good. Just a good upbringing. Everyone was sporty. My sister did a lot of sprinting and running. Daughters are now, one of the daughters doing running now, sprinting. So yeah, it was just good Caribbean upbringing, to be honest with you.
Oh, nice. And I'm happy to hear that. We don't really hear, and it's unfortunate, but we don't always hear of double parent households and whatnot.
Yeah, mum and dad's still together. They live in the Caribbean now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Till this day.
Yeah.
Oh, big up mum and dad.
Yeah.
Yes. Nice. No, I'm happy to hear. When I hear this, it brings joy to me, because I don't feel like it's normalized as much.
Yeah, I think it's just easy. That's lazy. That's lazy journalism or lazy data.
Yeah.
Because the reality is there's quite a few.
Yeah. No, I love that. Cool. So growing up in Leicester, being a boy, probably sporty, as you can imagine. Like, what
Yeah.
was that like in school? Being...
Loved my first love was athletics.
Okay.
Yeah, Linford Christie, Ed
Yeah.
Moses,
Yeah.
all them people like that. Yeah, just loved watching the athletics. And my mum and dad used to watch athletics, watch tennis.
Okay.
We used to watch darts. We used to watch everything.
Everything.
So for me, I was very active. Coming from a Caribbean background, cricket was pushed on me.
Yes.
But I was so active, you know, when you just want to run and do everything because you want to be. But cricket's quite slow in children unless you're actually doing the batting or the bowling. So I kind of moved towards football and athletics. Athletics was my first love. I just love sprinting and jumping. And then obviously when football came about and I got in front of playing football more, it's just, that was it then really. Played with a lot of older lads.
Okay.
And as you know, with older lads, you've got to be able to hold your own.
Yeah.
Because if you start crying, if you start whinging, they're not going to let you play again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So playing with older lads was not a problem for me from the age of 8, 9, 10, playing with teenagers.
Right.
And if you get kicked, you just got to get up, a little bit of a huff, and then you just carry on.
Crack on.
So it kind of set me up for what was going to happen a bit later on, because I'd already been doing that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, wicked. So when did the football career start, even if at academy level? Like, what first club?
So I joined Leicester City at 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you didn't do grassroots and whatnot?
This is the thing. So I actually joined, coming from Christian background, Caribbean background as well. I actually, Sunday was church.
Yeah.
So I never played Sunday league football. I went with Leicester City, which was then called, it's Academy now, but then it was called Centre of Excellence.
Yes.
So I did that Tuesday, Thursday, and then you have a game on Saturday sometimes. And then I played school on Saturday as well. So I went to Leicester at 9, 10, and one of the parents for one of the kids that I was playing with had a Sunday league team.
Okay.
And it wasn't until then they asked me if I wanted to play, and I'm like, I don't know. You're going to have to ask my dad. So then it was like, push everything onto them. And then that's how I got into Sunday league football. But I did it the other way around. Right. Usually you do Sunday league football and then you go to your academy.
Yeah.
But I did it the other way around. But yeah, played all the way up. Enjoyed that. Back then it was just fun for me.
Yeah.
I just loved playing football, loved being on the football pitch, loved winning games, loved scoring goals. I was very quick.
Yeah. Especially because you were doing athletics.
Yeah. So, I just enjoyed all that part of it. And then the growth with that, you know, I played for a team called Ratby and Gruby in Leicestershire.
Right.
And it's funny because I'm living in the city. And Ratby's literally on the countryside.
Okay.
So you're talking an hour to get to the 45 minutes to an hour.
Loved it that much that you was always still going.
But I had to get someone to come and pick me up to come and take me because mum and dad didn't drive.
Okay.
So there was that sort of sacrifice from parents to take me here and take me there.
Wow.
And make sure I got back as well. Yeah. But yeah, it was just fun. That was, you know, and then you get a bit serious when you go with the academy, the Centre of Excellence, and then every year, I think when I first joined, it was like 50, 60 kids in every age group, and then you start whittling it down, you get it to like I think it's about a 20. Yeah, so I enjoyed that part of it as well, but you know, because you every year you're still there. Yeah, you're still there. You know that you're half decent, but you're still there.
You're still there. Yeah. What was your parents like with football? Like, obviously being from a Caribbean household, were they on be a doctor, lawyer, education?
No. Football was fine. Dad played like semi-pro.
Okay.
I think it was Stafford. He was like, go and do what you're doing. And because I was doing okay, it's like, go on, keep playing. Right. I think they could see because I think my dad, I believe my dad put a bet on that I would play for England by the age of 21.
Right.
So, you could see from then that there was something.
Interesting, especially being Caribbean, because I know, like, you know, Africans and Caribbeans, it's always
similar,
doctor, lawyer, whatnot. So it's actually refreshing to hear, like he was saying, like, go for it. But maybe because he played as well.
Yeah, he did sports. He did cricket and football.
Okay, nice. Now, so you're playing grassroots. You're playing for Leicester 9. You're playing. You're doing the Centre of Excellence. When's that time when your managers or yourself realize, do you know what, he's really up for men's football?
Probably about 15, 16.
Wow,
Yeah,
you're quite young still.
yeah. At 15, I joined. I played an 18s game, under 18s game, and that's kind of the beginning for me.
Right.
At 15, I played. We played Northampton
You still
away.
remember?
Yeah, it was on the cricket pitch as well. So I was, and this is like a rude awakening to kind of men's football because 18s is still.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're getting there. You're one step away from there, really. So we were losing 1-0 against Northampton, and coming in at half time, and the manager back then, you know what it's like. The manager just effing and blinding. Oh, it was harsh. And me as a 15-year-old, I've kept my head down because I didn't want to you don't want to get eye contact with anyone, so I've just kept my head down. And he's just gone, you get changed. You're coming on. Blah, blah, blah. Came on, scored twice.
Wow.
Came off because I got injured. Took a shot and someone put their foot there, so I kicked the bottom of the foot. Came off injured, but we won.
Right.
And that was kind of the start for me of being in the 18s. By the time, so that was I was 15, but that was under 16s.
Yeah.
By the time I joined the under 18s, so that would have been the July, August the next season, the next year. To be honest, 18s was too easy.
Was you always a centre forward?
From a young age, I was just I could play wherever. I just wanted the ball.
Yeah.
John Barnes was my hero, so just give me the ball, let me run with it.
Yeah.
So I played actually midfield as a kid.
Okay.
And then they kind of I went at the back for my Sunday league team. Okay. But I just used to take the ball and dribble forward. So they go up front,
go up top.
and that's when it kind of just settled. I settled in my position there. But when I went into the youth team, I actually went back in midfield.
Okay.
Because we had forwards that could play up front, but we didn't really have too many demand in midfield. So I ended up playing one of my first seasons in midfield.
Okay.
At under 18s. But yeah, that became physically too easy. Okay. I wasn't far off this size at 16.
Always been,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a bit of a growth spurt and I wasn't far off this size. So I played a pre-season game for Leicester at 16, and I think we played Notts County away, and I'd done my
Your knee.
Yeah, what was it, meniscus?
Ooh, so young.
Yeah, but I didn't have the operation, so they just left me, and that was for the first team. So then I went back with the youth team, did 9 weeks of rehab, came back. The first game I scored 4, second game I scored 4, third game I scored 3. But like I said, I was this size up thingy, so you imagine playing, it was just too easy. So in the end, I was like, oh yeah, you're going with the first team. Made my first team debut at 17, and then it was just basically onwards and upwards from there.
Your debut?
Yeah.
Because we spoke a lot about physically, mentally, because no matter how tall you are or what age group you're playing, you're still a young lad mentally. How was that for you? Like being 17, making your debut for Leicester City. How was that mentally for you?
Do you know what? It was a weird day because there was about 3 or 4 strikers who'd gone down sick.
Okay.
So I was like one of the only ones left. So they played me, but I I didn't know until basically they bring you into the change rooms and they reveal who's playing, and that was when I found out.
Right.
I think they told my mum and dad anyway, so just so they could come down, etc. Right. But I hadn't found out until that time, and then it was like, so there was no real nerves or anything like that. But then there's a quality, there's a different tempo, there's a different strength, and we lost that game, QPR away. We lost that game in March '95.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We lost that game 2-0, but it gave me an insight on how far off I am. Yeah. And there's been times in my career I know, because I went with England under 16s. I'd never been around the England setup at all. And I was 16 because I was playing 18s football and then sometimes with the reserves as well. Yeah. I'd gone with the England under 16s. I had a trial, and then next minute I'm playing in the Euros. But it's funny because I've come in. The main striker is Jamie Carragher.
No way.
Yeah, he's the main.
Carragher?
Yeah.
He's up top before.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's the main striker.
Right.
But coming into that environment, I'd gone from Leicester where I'm the
Yeah,
main man, and then coming into this environment, and I'm thinking, yeah, I can still hang it.
Yeah.
But there's different levels, and you've got to humble yourself a little bit, and then figure out where do I fit, and how do I progress? How do I step myself up? Because we had a lad called Nigel Quasi.
I remember him. Oh, come on, Heskey, man. I know my stuff. Come on.
Technically,
Yeah.
Another level.
Gifted.
Both feet, and I couldn't really figure out what he was his strongest foot.
Right, that's strong.
And then I'm going there, and I'm like, he's doing this, and I'm thinking, well, I can't really. I'm not at that level right now, but I had to step up. So then you find your niche in that.
Yeah.
And then you go with the first team. You've got to find your, like I said, 95, and I'm like thinking I'm okay. But then there's different levels, different steps, different speeds, everything moving quicker.
Right.
And I had to find my way in that as well. It probably took a couple of months, but I was still a young lad. I was still 17 at the time. So
a lot going on.
Yeah, but I'd adapted from a young age all the time. So it wasn't. I'd always had that thing in my mind that I can adapt.
No, I love that. So the adapting, was that wired from you from young?
I'm guessing so. My dad obviously jack of all trades.
Okay.
So we had a local community centre. It's called Leicester Asian Youth Association.
Okay.
And my dad would, after work, then go and just go and volunteer there.
Okay.
So we'd go there. There'd be football, like five-a-side. There'd be arcades and everything. But not only that, he'd do the fitness upstairs.
Okay.
So if I tell you something, my dad will tell you as well. He used to make us run. There's a hill. There's a park called Spinney Hill. So the hill's like that. He used to make us run, and we used to do sprints up and down that hill. And then there's a high rise. I think it's 17 floors. And then we'd have to go up the stairs, but you're not like you have to touch every step. Then you have to come down, you have to go up again, and then you have to jog back.
Right.
So there were the sort of things that I was doing. That
So pre-season for you was nothing.
Nothing. By the time I got to pre-season, it was easy. Some of the stuff he had us doing was ridiculous. People used to go missing. There's like they'd be in they'd want to come to the youth club, but they know my dad's there.
That time they wanna.
Yeah, they couldn't handle it. But so mentally, I was used to challenges.
It's funny you say that because like we were saying about behind the scenes, you know, you for example going into pre-season and you're not tired and you're going up levels. Someone might just see it as, oh, he's lucky, or no, you've been working, like you said, you know, behind the scenes.
But I'll tell you this. So the first pre-season I did, I didn't know what to expect. Even though I'm doing all this training, I didn't know what to expect. And I swear I was at the back of the running.
Even though you was doing
I was doing that
stuff.
because it was different type of running. But then by the time, and this is probably where I get that from, by the time I'd finished the pre-season, I'm at the front of all the running. At the front of it, and I had this mentality. I remember there was a player called Lee Philpott, and we were injured at the same time, but he was the best runner at the club. We came back at the same time, and every club's got a canal run. So they set off tell us, go and do the canal. He sets off, and I think he's trying to challenge me. So I'm setting off with him. I'm gone, and I'm holding with it. In my mind, I'm saying I can't do this no more, because he literally went off at a pace where I'm like, no, this is ridiculous. But I kept going with it. I stayed with him, and then he pulled up. He said that I'm starting to feel my hamstring again. So he pulled up, and I'm like, thank you, Lord.
Right.
I don't know if I could have still gone.
Yeah.
Oh, but I had the mentality that I wasn't going to be beaten, and I think that comes from everything that had been done before.
Right. Deep. So, 17, you're playing. You're part of the England setup, whatnot. At this point, you're a 17-year-old. You're playing at this level. You're determined. You're psychologically, you're okay. How was it with everyone around you? Because you know the world you're in, but no one else can see that. How are you still managing your friendships? How are you still managing people in the end?
I was lucky because my core group of friends were footballers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So my best friend, he was my strike partner.
Okay.
My other one was at West Brom.
Mm.
The one who's a year younger, he was at Lincoln, and then a couple of others was at uni.
All right.
So we kind of still had our friendship in that sense.
Oh, that's right.
It was a little bit weird because once I got into the first team, I'm hanging at my mate's job.
Yeah.
As a kid, I was 18, 19. So that was a little bit weird, but yeah, it still managed to that core group of friends.
Right.
Because of that.
Interesting. So the jump from youth level to then being established as a first team player, when did when was the first moment for you when you realized I'm actually a pro footballer? Like I wouldn't like to use the word made it, but like this is me. This is my profession now. I'm a footballer. When was that moment?
Probably the first full season. The first full season when I was 17/18. It's probably then because I'm playing week in, week out. Playing 30 plus games a season at that age.
This is mind blowing.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I'm a footballer now. And you got to live like that. You got to do everything.
What is that? Because I'm not a footballer. I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
Like,
look,
what is living like a footballer?
It's the sacrifices. But I'd already done a lot of them sacrifices before, because when you think about it, I was training from 15. I was actually joining in at 15 with the 18, so I was going in day release anyway. So I was doing, and day releases, you work it. It's like a job. You're working all day.
Right.
And most of it's cleaning the training ground.
Yeah.
So I'd done that from a young age. So a lot of the things that people were going and doing, and I wouldn't be doing, but I'd catch up with my mates and say, yeah, what happened? And I'd kind of live my life through them. But I'm living this life. I'm getting up every morning, making sure I'm catching 2 buses to get to training.
Wow.
When you get into training, you've got to clean this person's boots, that person's boots. You've got to clean this training ground. You've got to wash dishes.
Wow.
Yeah, we're clean. We're basically running the training ground, more or less.
I didn't know that. I knew about the boots.
Yeah.
You know, you always a first teamer will tell a younger lot to. I didn't know you had to clean the stadiums.
Yeah, we never did the stadium. We did the training ground.
Training ground.
So we did the training ground. So you would say, for argument's sake, I'm a first year. No, I'm a second year scholar, and you're a first year. You'd come with me, and this would be our room.
Wow.
And we'd have to make sure it's clean. And guess what? The coach is coming at the end of the day, and he's checking everything to make sure you clean before you are allowed to go home. And that was it. We did that, and then match day we had jobs down at the training ground. At the stadium as well. So. You got the changing rooms, and let's be honest, everyone just bangs their boots off and just leave. That's us that was us to clean all that up.
Right. Wow. Comes to the finances now, because I'm sure as you progress, your life changed financially. How was that mentally, especially being so young? You probably, being young, just got NI. If you wasn't a footballer, young person, just got NI number. You care about trainers and whatnot, but then you're now a professional footballer. Finances come to you. Like, how do you deal with that?
Do you say that? My first professional contract wasn't what you think it was.
Oh, serious?
Was it 350?
As in £350?
Yeah.
Serious?
My appearance was 800.
Okay.
So I got more to appear than I actually did salary. But it was good back then.
Yeah, of course.
And I was I was 18-year-old, because you can't sign it right until you're 18. I was an 18-year-old lad.
Right.
But for me, I was just wanting to play football. I never really got involved in all that. I just wanted to play football. I just wanted to be on that pitch and show. That's where love was. Any problems that you have, generally, when you're on the pitch, it just all goes. Training pitch, you have a little bit of a laugh with everyone, and that's where a lot of things can be hid as well. I see a lot of players going through a lot, but you wouldn't even know because because of the fun that you could have at the training pitch. And I'll speak about it later, about when we moved to Liverpool, how difficult that was. Where I was 22 moving to Liverpool. People think I was like 26, 27. I was only 22. Moving to Liverpool, and I was moving from my hometown to another city, and I'd never done. barely moved out of my parents' house.
Yeah.
Then to move to another city, before your sat navs and all that, before you have all that
A
on,
to Z.
yeah.
Mm.
And the simplest of things I found hard, just to get to the training ground, to go and get some food, to know where a shop was.
Yeah.
I was driving back. I was driving back to Leicester to get a barbershop.
No way.
Yeah.
And how many hours is Leicester
2.5.
just to get a trim?
Trim.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, when I start to understand where everything was, the barbershop was around the
It's around
corner.
But it took you time to
Understand that. And you go through a mental phase within that, because you realize you're kind of alone. You're on your own, and you don't know if you've actually done the right thing or not.
Yeah.
And I've written a book, and I speak about it in the book, that I sat on the floor, laid on the floor, and I was like, I don't know if I've done the right thing here.
Wow. So
I've gone to the biggest.
You've left Leicester and now you're at Liverpool,
The biggest club in the world.
the biggest. If obviously the Man United and whatnot, but it was toe to toe, and you're sitting on the floor thinking, have I done the right thing?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm doing well as well.
Yeah. Listen, I know.
And it was just that I was a kid and I hadn't grown up yet.
Yeah.
And I was sheltered by my parents as such. So I had to grow up, and that move made me grow up.
Okay. Was there in that time, was there like people that help you integrate? So
we had player liaison.
Yeah.
But in my mind, player liaison is for the foreign players. Okay. So they're coming from abroad. They need that help. I'm 200 miles down the road. So I never asked for help. And then obviously there's this bravado of being a man that you don't ask for help, you deal with it. Yeah. And the funny thing is, my mates, my boys, they would have helped me. They would have come up and stayed and come up and make sure I was. And I had a kid. I had a partner at the time. But nothing seemed right. But then you go on and win the treble. But still, things weren't great in my mind.
So all that time when you was winning cups, scoring all them goals, when you go home...
The first part of it was tough. I was happy at the training ground because that's my environment. But when you come in away from that, I didn't have anyone around me at all. I had my partner at the time and I had my kids. Yeah. But apart from that, I'm used to having my mum and dad. I can just go, okay, well, they're down the road. Even if I don't even see them, they're just there. Yeah.
You just know they're there. Yeah. Wow. So we're seeing Heskey scoring all these goals for Liverpool, whatnot, but behind the scenes, he's feeling alone. He's struggling to settle in. Wow. And was there therapists around them times?
I think there was. But tell like me, a 22-year-old man, I need therapy.
Yeah. And especially, like you said, them times there, be a man, is get on with it.
Yeah, we kind of came in with sports psychologists.
Sports psychology and all of that,
I think we came in that probably 2 years later. But yeah, there wasn't, I don't think there, and as well, I don't know if I'd have used it anyway. That's the honest truth.
Yeah.
Because back then, 22-year-old man, you couldn't tell me that I need this and I need that. I've got to man up. I've got to do what's right. I can't be telling you this. I can't be telling you that.
Yeah. Wow. Speak to me about at Liverpool being a top goal, like one of the top goal scorers, scoring goals, winning trophies. When you go home, like let's just say you've won a major cup. And obviously you're with the fans, it feels like how it feels. When you go home and there's no more noise, like what's that like?
When you go home, I think you've got to somehow be, separate that a little bit. Because if you don't, it can be too much. Okay. It can be a lot. Because inevitably, as players or as humans, you'll look at negatives rather than looking at positives. I scored 21 goals that season, but I can tell you some of the ones that I missed. Yeah. You're like, well, why can't I talk about the ones that I scored? I went and scored in the Super Cup final, but I'll tell you about something that I
All
missed
the
in the
chances
thing.
you missed, the ones you hit post
Yeah.
or whatnot.
So one thing Tony Cottee told me, and when a senior player tells you, and I would have been 19, 20, 21, and Tony Cottee told me, and he would have been about 35 at the time.
About his later side of his career.
Yeah, because he came back to Leicester. He hadn't won anything, and we won the League Cup final.
Okay.
So, and he said to me, make sure you've got some sort of hobby or family outside of football because you need to switch off.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, whatever, you're old. But you kind of understand it now. You need something to distance yourself because I just think it's it's to have that going on your mind too much. It is tough. And that's one of the things, like, I wish I could have done better.
Okay.
When I was playing, especially at the club like Liverpool.
Yeah.
Because there's so much scrutiny at the top clubs.
Liverpool.
There's so much scrutiny at the top clubs. So you've got to be able to, and you've got kids. So you've got to be able to be daddy as well as just being that Emile Heskey. I don't know if I did it right. I don't know if I did it well.
Yeah.
But you've got to be able to switch off a little bit because it can, even now, and it's more so now because of social media.
Yeah.
I remember going to Australia and Instagram had just kicked off, more or less. I don't think it just kicked off, but it was early days.
10, 15 years old now.
I
10 probably, I think.
I went to Australia, I think it's 2013.
Okay, so about 14, 15 years ago.
So I remember joining Instagram then, and like, well, what's this thing? Everyone's got it. One of the young lads had it, and he was struggling. And he was getting abuse on it, blah, blah, blah. He was struggling, really struggling. And being a senior player, I think I was 34 at the time. Yeah, around 34, 35 at the time. And one of the executives like, can you speak to him, blah, blah. And I'm, oh, yeah, no problem. What's wrong? Yeah, I'm down because of this and that. And he was telling me about people abusing on social media. I said, well, just turn it off.
Yeah. But you know what? He can't.
Yeah. But in my mind, I'm saying to myself, just turn it off. Just delete it. And you don't get the noise.
Yeah.
But I understand what he was going through because I was a totally different generation to that. I was in the newspaper generation.
You're more OK magazine.
Yeah. But you don't have to buy it.
Yeah.
You don't have to read it.
Yeah, someone has to bring it to you.
Yeah.
Whereas now you wake
in
up
your
on your phone. Oh my God.
Yeah. But you can get away with that. You can get away from that as well. So so it's, the noise can be a lot, especially when you're at the top. But the love was great as well.
Right. Yeah, of course. Liverpool, Anfield's like,
it's mad.
It's probably the fans wise. I heard them and Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle's is Newcastle's is.
So I can imagine. For me, it's with do they call them the cop? The fans.
Yeah.
Is it the cop? What's the worst someone said or done to you as a fan that's actually resonated with you and you sat home and thought, wow, that one actually.
No, I don't. Not at Liverpool.
Not at Liverpool.
Not at Liverpool. No, I think away more. Fans are going to be fans anyway. I remember they've got a lot of cheeky fans. I remember. So I'm from a place in Leicester called Highfields, and I remember going to Main Road, and it was like, "F off back to Highfields, would you?" And it's like, what do you know about Highfields? Yeah. So it was a little bit of a joke, banter like that. But the worst I got was when we went to, I think it was Croatia, and it's like, how many? It's like 30,000 fans making monkey chants.
Oh.
So again, man up. You just deal with it. You deal with it. You know that it's, and coming from where, and the era that I came from, I'd been chased from Leicester.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been chased from Leicester.
Real racism. Yeah. Like you know what real racism feels like. Yeah.
So
beyond words.
Yeah. So people making monkey chants and not being able to get on the pitch, I'm okay.
You're right.
But I'm going to show you.
Yeah. Do you think that kind of fueled you?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. But I never fed into all that. I just like, well, great. You paid to watch.
Yeah, it's true. Joke's on you, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. England.
Yes.
It's not everyone that can say I played for England. What was that experience like? Because I think it's
Amazing.
different from club level, right?
Yeah, amazing. Like I said, if you go back to what I was saying before, I joined at 16s. The levels, man. You just have to step your game up. And at your club, you can kind of get away with having one day off or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't do that in England, mate. You've got to be on your level and you come off and you could ring your top because of that much how much you run around. That's how hard you've worked. But that's the level you're at. That's the elite level you're at.
Yeah. It's the best in the country.
Yeah, and I loved it because it was just an honour. Born and raised in England, it's an honour to represent your country. To put on that. And the funny thing is, even if I hadn't to played again from the 16s onwards, I'd actually have the shirt and I'd put it and I'd been able to wear it. So it was an honour to do that. Have my grandparents come and watch me, my mum and dad come and watch me, brothers and sisters fly all over the world. My kids have all watched me play. It's only the last two. Only the last two haven't, because I've had them when I'm older. But it's just great to have them see me in tournaments and see me play for the national team, because it's the pinnacle. It's the elite. You're putting yourself up against the elite as well. And you want to see who's better.
Yeah, it is. No, I totally agree. Family, kids, family, you know, obviously you grew up tight-knit family. How has it been, Emile Heskey and dad? Because I'm sure they're two different identities.
Yeah, it's weird because they kind of mold into one at times, because you can't get away from it. Like there'll be times where I just want to be dad, but you just can't. So I think they understand that.
Okay.
And it's funny because my girls are young now, so they've never seen me play.
Okay, so they get it different from maybe your oldest.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, talking about your older ones, right? When you was in your pinnacle.
Yeah.
You might just want to take them to the park.
No, you can't do that. I couldn't. Not in the pinnacle. I remember going to Liverpool, and I'm from Leicester, so I know everyone in Leicester, and I could just walk wherever I want.
Yeah.
I can go into the high street, do whatever I want. Everyone's, and then they'll move on.
A couple of pictures, and then they go. Right.
So I went to Liverpool, and I thought, yeah, let's go for a night out. And Bridget came up. Let's go for a night out, mate. Never again. Never again. Not on that street anyway. I can't remember where it was, but there were people hugging me, picking me up. Oh, it was mad. So I just had to leave in the end. But they're probably not used to someone just being around like that. And I wasn't. I think it's a bit naive, to be honest with you, how big the club is.
Yeah, Liverpool's huge.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'd gone from going all over the world. I was going Napa. I was going all sorts of places, and then going to Liverpool, I couldn't even walk down. I couldn't come out my house. You know, so it'd gone from one extreme to another. But I wouldn't. But then you're talking about my kids and stuff like that.
And even like the security levels.
Yeah, you've got to be careful of that as well. And I never really thought about that before. But that's another level you've got to be careful of.
Yeah, it must be challenging. Obviously, as a man, you're the protector, you're the one.
Yeah.
You might be at a training ground, you're thinking about your kids, and you think about their safety, you're thinking about how it feels for them in school.
Yeah.
You know, what they're getting.
Yeah, that was an interesting one, because I had to move my eldest son from one to another school.
Wow.
Yeah. I never thought of them sort of things before. But the school that we eventually went to was fantastic. Okay. Yeah, brilliant.
It worked out.
Yeah, it was fantastic. He got all his A grades. Oh, yeah, and then went to university. So, but then if I'd have left him in the other one, and as a parent, you're like, what are you talking about? Didn't understand it.
Yeah. No, I love the fact that you're being honest. You know, like sometimes we answer things because we feel like we have to have the perfect answer. You're just like, I just didn't know what to. I
didn't understand it because I'm coming from a ghetto area where if someone has a problem with you, I'd never had no problems because of my parents, my dad.
Right.
My dad was
Jack the lad in the area.
Yeah. So wherever I walked in that area, I'm a spitting image of my dad. So wherever I walked in that area, it was like
Heskey son.
So I could walk it and I had no problems anywhere.
Right.
and everyone knew everyone within that area. So for my son to say that, or that, for me to find out that something's happened, I'm like, what do you mean? But then obviously took him out, put him in another one, and it was
It
fantastic.
worked out. Wow. Interesting. On your children, so Pinnacle, that's dad as a footballer. I'm actually a fan of your two boys that play for City. I've got a cousin that supports City, and he's always ringing bells about Heskey, even before we became friends. How is that now for both pressures on your sons, because there's two of them at City, right?
Yeah.
And how is that for you? Because you don't play anymore, but you was elite level. Like, how do you navigate that without putting too much pressure on them, but also wanting them to achieve
Do you
great
know what?
things?
From what I've been through, I've just got to be support.
Right.
I can't be coach. I can't be this. I just got to be support and mentor. From what I went through. So I did a thing recently, and it's like, oh, what would you tell? No, just be there for them.
Hey.
If they need a lift somewhere, take them there. If they need this, do that for them. If they come with you for the problem, sit there and listen to that. Just be that ear for them, because they have not got many.
Wow.
They haven't got many. They will not be telling their teammates. They will
Yeah,
not
you
be
know,
They
yeah.
will not be telling other people. So you've got to try and be that for them. Because there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, and when there's downs, they can be very low.
Yeah.
So just be there for them and just help them out with it. Even that, it's funny because the boys started very young.
Okay.
The eldest one, who's now 19, he was 4, joining the under 6s, like pre-academy or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And now he's 19, so he's been there a long time. Yeah. So they know the pressures. I didn't necessarily want them to do it because I was thinking more about myself and saying I don't want them to have what's the word, judgment of your dad did this and you're crap. Your dad did this. No, but it's not my career. It's theirs. Whether the reality is that when he plays his first professional game. And I think that he has actually, because he's played in the EFL Trophy.
Yes.
Professional footballer.
Yeah.
He's made it into that 1%.
Yeah. It's less than 1%. Apparently it was 0.1200. Yeah, it's less than 1%.
So he's made it already into there, so no one can tell him anything.
Yeah.
So I've just got to be there on that journey to help them navigate that journey if there's any. And I can see it myself because I've been through that where you're saying, no, there's something not right.
Right.
There's something not right. So that's all I want, to be there for them in that sense. They've had the best coaching. They're at Man City. Yeah. For me, and I've seen the way they play, and I've seen the way you look at what's in the league now.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer.
Yeah. Ipswich has got the striker Delap.
Yeah. You've got
even the one at Villa.
Yeah, Morgan.
He's from there. Yeah.
Pedro Porro.
Yes.
You can keep going and keep going.
We can do it.
So they're showing that there's a pathway. You've just got to pick and choose the right place to actually go, or if you stay. So I'm happy with where they are and what they're doing. I'll just leave them to it. It's not my career. It's theirs, and they've got to enjoy it because it's a great career. It's a wonderful career. You have loads of ups. Yeah. You have some downs as well. Yeah. But the ups, you would like to think they I went to two World Cups and 2 Euros.
Yeah. This, I know this. Trust me. And it's like, it's not everyone that can say they've done that. It's.
So my eldest kids, they come to 2002 World Cup. So they've flown to Japan and watched me play in the World Cup. My youngest two boys, they've been to South Africa and watched me play in the World Cup. So my grandmother's before she passed away, she come and watch me at Wembley.
Wow.
So it's a wonderful career.
Yeah, no, and you've had one. You've had a wonderful career. So with your young two boys, you let them be. You know, being from the older generation and seeing how football was then, and then you have an insight because of your two boys of football now. What would you say the differences are? Is there more social pressures? Is there more mental health things now?
I think so, because again, we only thought about football. You've got so much going on now. We got Instagram, we got TikTok, we got LinkedIn, we got this, that, we got this. I had nothing. I had a roadmap, but that's it. I don't think about how to get to training.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Right.
Now they've got a lot to deal with, and it's. I think nowadays as well, with football changing as well, I had a lot of ownership within how I played, and they don't really have too much because they're told what to do.
Right.
Whereas I was like, especially under Martin O'Neill, was like, no, you're good at this. Go and do it. Do what you're doing.
Right.
Cool. I'm on the pitch and I'm freestyling now. Whereas now it's no, you got to make sure you pay that pass. You got to make sure you play that pass. You got to do this here, and they got. Well, just let them play. Go on, because I think he'll make the right decision if you leave him to it. But a lot of the time they don't really leave them to do that.
Wow. So, in saying that, if you had your way, obviously I know you let the coaches do whatever. Is there things you see that's like, I know this could be affecting my child's mental health?
I wouldn't have them on social media. I think social media is a great place, great tool for building a brand or something like that. But just being on there, just to be on there, is not I don't think is particularly a great thing. At this moment in time, they're doing fantastic, aren't they? But let them have 2 or 3 months of bad games, and then see what that you're the best is not suddenly something die or something like that.
Yeah.
And one thing with us as people, we'll have 10,000 good posts or good things people saying about us. That one person will get to us, and we'll continue to worry about that one person. I'm like, how do you let that one person in your mind? We've got 15 million here. But we'll let that one person just eat away at us, and we never figured that bit out yet. But it's if we could get away with, if we can move them off that and just have it as a tool for a branding is fine. But just sitting on there and having someone being able to contact you just like that, what? That's mad.
So, no, I totally agree. Like the Instagram thing, if it's not used for marketing, branding, it can be, especially
dangerous.
It could very, very dangerous. Your generation was more tabloids, press, and whatnot. Not into details, but what was your how did you deal with any time that you went? We don't use the term viral them days. Any time that you were trending in that sort of time, how did you deal with it?
That was tough because again, you just man up.
Wow.
Yeah, there was no outlet in that sense, and there were times where it was tough.
Yeah,
especially when I scored goals, but I'm not an out and out goal scorer. So I would get my fair share, but I'm not saying I'm going to be Mo Salah or Michael Owen. But yeah, and it's funny. So everyone will have a view on how you should play. How can you tell me how I should play when I'm the one doing it? Right. Oh, you're telling me how you want me to play, but I tell you how I'm going to play. There was times, and then Rooney came on Rooney came on the scene, and it was like, no, you shouldn't be playing. He should be playing, which is fine. Then let the manager deal with that. Let the manager play it, and that's one of the big things for me that Wayne Rooney will say, yeah, Mill loved playing up front with him, set him up their first England goal.
Right.
So all these things are great. But then you've got the negative side of it where people have their own agenda on. I remember coming off a plane once when I think it was 2010. Yeah, I think it was 2020. Or it might have been 2004. One of the two anyway. Ledley King was coming off the plane with Ashley Cole.
Okay.
And at the time, Ashley Cole was the one getting it. It was me, Ashley Cole, and Son.
Okay.
Ledley come off with Ashley Cole and they were laughing or smiling about something. And it was like tabloids with Emile Heskey and
oh my gosh.
The worst thing the funny thing with that, right? The worst bit I took out of that was I can't grow a beard or moustache. And he's got
Leddy had one, right?
full beard and mustache. I'm like, well, I haven't. You've never seen me with beard.
Yeah.
So and the thing I took from that was you must hate me that much that any black person looks like that.
Yeah.
So then you kind of helped me, to be honest. I was like, well, okay, that's fine. I'll just move on and continue doing what I know. Don't overthink. And this is where you can overthink things as well.
Wow. No, thank you. I want to wrap it up with for someone that's watching who, loves your career and you inspire them. If you was to give any message for an inspiring footballer, someone that's going through something, whether that's a divorce, whether that's change of career, being made redundant, an illness, a diagnosis. With the career you've had to have hope throughout. Otherwise you wouldn't, What would be your message to that person? Both young, inspiring footballer, or young, inspiring anything, because there's so much things nowadays.
The fact that young, inspiring is focus. Focus on what you want. Figure out how you actually acquire that, in the sense of if you're going to be the best midfielder, what is the best midfielder? What does he do?
For me, best midfielder communicates, very vocal, team.
So focus on that. I always looked at other players that were in my position, and I looked at what they were doing, and then I tried to better that.
Okay.
So I don't know if I will better it, but that's my challenge, and I think that's what a lot of kids need to do, is challenge themselves to be the best at what they're doing. You're not going to be Ronaldo. You're not going to be Messi.
Yeah, 1 in a million.
But you're going to be the best of you, and better. If a manager wants you to do this, challenge yourself to be that. Do that and be the best of that. So that was what I'd say to the young and inspiring players. What was the other one?
And then for anyone that's watching that's given up and they're going through a tough period, whether it's illness, losing their job, divorce.
Do you know the funny thing with that is the mist will clear. We've all been through stuff. Keep faith. I'm a Christian, so keep faith. And I can only say by in the way that I look at things.
Yeah, of course, it's individual to everyone. Yeah.
The Lord will look after you. He will never leave you.
And
He will never leave you. He will always look after you. So keep that faith. And there'll be times where you'll think it's your darkest moment, and it'll clear. Don't give up. Don't give up.
No. I'm even touched by that because as we all know, we go through things.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even things that are in our control. It could be a family member that's ill, and you have to pray for them.
Yeah.
So you saying that now, it's like I'm just going through, even in my head, I'm thinking of certain things that I'm going through now, or some things that people around me are going through, and I'm like, I actually can't wait to get on the phone to them and say, don't worry, that mist will clear.
Yeah.
Because everything's temporary.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's a good feeling or a bad
The thing is,
feeling.
the fascinating thing is, you'll walk down the street, 90% of people are going through things. 90% of people are going through things. But it will clear. It will.
No, I love that. Cool. Emile, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, man. Honestly, I just feel like just sitting down at Big Bro, just listening to your journey, and like behind the scenes of it, because we could have spoke about the goals and but like knowing how you've been as a parent, how you've been as a human, how you was raised, it's been a blessing for me.
Thank you.
And with what I do, I'm just trying to spread positivity, and I just genuinely know that this is going to hit that one person, because I'm not interested in a million, I'm interested in the one, and that's sometimes all it takes is that one. And you coming on here today, literally telling us your journey.
Well, the thing is, I didn't realise how much I was doing for... I kind of understood it for the community, because I'm from a black community. I'm from Highfields, which back then was just... the pub was owned by black people.
Right.
So I'm from that. So I kind of understood that I didn't realise it was a whole country.
Yeah, more than that, the world.
Yeah. But I didn't realise, when you actually... It's funny because I bump into ex-players who are similar sort of age, probably about 4 or 5 years younger than me, and they thank me for some of the stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you were going through the same thing. You were doing it. You got to remember there's there's players underneath you that are watching you do stuff.
Yeah.
I joined Leicester at 16 and 17. I'm playing first team. There's 15-year-olds who are looking at me, and it's only now they tell me, yeah man, loved it when you was
the guy.
You looked after me. You made sure I was doing. I was like, yeah, but that's what I'm supposed to do. So no, it's good.
Wicked. If you could give one advice to the world, old, young, non-football, what would it be?
The only thing I would say is smile.
Oh.
Do you know the fascinating thing? A smile to someone could just light their day up, and you don't even know. I was at Club Wembley, and a lady came up to me, and she said, and she was just started talking to me, blah blah blah, and she said, "You picked out." She was at Brentford. She's a Liverpool fan. She was at Brentford, or somewhere down there. It might be Fulham. We played them away, and I went up to her and said hello, and she said it just brightened up my day because she was going through something. And she started thanking me. I'm like, one, I couldn't remember what I couldn't remember.
Right. Yeah.
But that little bit, you never know what someone's going through.
Wow. Always smile. I want to know this one question, because you was a Leicester legend as well. What team do you support?
So I'm a John Barnes, so I love John Barnes. So it was Liverpool back in there, my uncle.
What, so when you was a kid you supported Liverpool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was already with my uncle, and John Barnes back then was the man.
Yeah, of course.
So I was a Liverpool fan, but then obviously joining Leicester at 9, you get free tickets.
Okay.
So I was going to Leicester a lot, and then you end up playing for them. You become both. But yeah, back then it was from a young age it was
Liverpool. Wow. What about your boys?
Mixed. So the older one is, so my oldest boy is Liverpool fan.
Okay.
Second one is Spurs fan. Yeah, because of Gareth Bale.
Okay.
Yeah. Third one is Liverpool.
Okay.
And fourth one is Man City.
Wow. And how do you feel about your boys playing for City? You're right with that?
Yeah, fine. The fascinating thing, I took them both to Liverpool as well. But that one fit better. And seeing their growth now.
Yeah, it makes sense. Argue. Yeah, and their Man City's academy is phenomenal. It's the best.
It's changed over the years as well, but it's still stayed the same way. Yeah, which is great. So I've got to say they're in the best possible place for them right now. And I can't. Their mum's a Scouser. Okay. So it would have been easy to take them to Liverpool, etc. But you got to pick what's best for them, not for me. Yeah. Because it's not, like I said, it's not my career.
Yeah, you've had yours. Wicked. Heskey, man, honestly, pleasure.
Thank you.
So grateful. And what we looking forward to for Emile Heskey? Obviously now you're retired. What's going on? Any charities? Any events?
Do you know what? I do a little bit for Liverpool. Okay. And I'm spending a lot of time watching the kids play. So there's an FA Youth Cup game against West Brom that I'm going to go and watch. But yeah, I spend a lot of time with the kids, trying to watch them play and enjoy their career, because I can remember my debut. My career's finished. It goes so quick. Yeah, so I've got to make sure I remember at least come to theirs and remember a major part of it.
Cool. My last but not least, how do you keep your mental well?
Good question.
Yeah, and this question here is a mind blower for a lot of men, because they really have to question themselves: am I even keeping my mental well? So yeah,
Bible and friends. Yeah, I've got a core group of friends, and it's funny. I hope he doesn't mind me saying it, but I've got a core group of friends who have gone through a lot, but we've never spoke to each other. It's only the last 3 months we have. Wow.
Everyone's just unraveling what they've been going through.
And it's fascinating because remember I said my best mate was my strike partner. Yes, that's the core group of friends that we still know. But that's been from since the age of 13, 14.
Oh, good solid unit.
Yeah, and it's taken till 47 for us to
to finally
talk.
have that sit down.
Mm.
I'm gonna end on that note because of late, as we all know, men's mental health suicide rates are high, and I've swore that I'm gonna do everything in my power to try and lower those numbers. And big bro Heskey just mentioned something. I don't think there's a cure for suicide rates. I don't think there's a cure for mental health. But one thing I do know is one thing that helps is community. And for men, it's brotherhood. You know, women do it so great. They'll go and sit and talk about everything under the sun at a brunch. Guys, go have a brunch. Guys, join that WhatsApp group. It's not always just about football in a WhatsApp group. Let your pal know that you're going for a divorce. Let your pal know that you have been made redundant. Let your pal know that money isn't making sense at the moment. Just like Big Bro said, it's taken 47 years for him and his closest pals to finally chop it up. Let's end that. Big Bro also said we was in a generation where just man up. What does that even mean? Because we're men, we've just sat here on the sofa just now. We've spoken about real life things and we're still men. Talking doesn't mean that you're not a man. Those are the old stigmas. It's a new world. It's a new day. So pick up that phone, go for that brunch, speak to your friends, build a community. Heskey said his way of venting or his way of looking after his mental health is the Bible. But he said the last but not least is his friends. Friends ain't just there for pictures. They're not just there for the cool moments. They're there for the down moments. Drop the ego, drop the pride, save yourself and save others. Build a community, build a brotherhood. You could be saving your life and you could be saving someone else's. Emile, it's been a pleasure having you on today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure for myself as well. I've learned a lot today. I've taken a lot today. I'm honoured to have him here. Away from the camera, I've been speaking to Emile for possibly about a year now. Just literally positivity, building that community, giving each other words of wisdom here and there, and encouraging each other. And I encourage you guys to do the same. If you've liked this episode, subscribe. Check out Emile's stuff. Check out my stuff. As you know, it's raysefah everywhere on socials. Today, I was blessed enough to be sponsored by Nicholas Dex diffusers, and they were keeping me and Emile vibrant. So these diffusers here, they as you're talking, as you're feeling anxious or scared, these diffusers here, they help you. They help you calm you down. They give you a sense of calm. They help your aroma. They help your atmosphere and your environment. So anyone that's feeling a bit anxious, anyone that's feeling a bit tense, feel no way to invest in these aromas. Anyway, it's been a pleasure for me. Subscribe, take care, and look out for the next episode. God bless.